If you want to burn fat and build muscle, you don't need to be waking up at 4 AM to go running or taking ice cold showers to build discipline. Yes, diet and exercise are the most important thing when it comes to transforming your body. But throughout the years of helping men get in shape, I've seen the most success comes when guys take the time to build tiny habits. Small habits that serve to make the rest of your life easier. So here's 9 tiny habits you can start doing today to make getting 12% body fat effortless. Alright, here's habit number 1. The mindset I had for the longest time, and it's a mindset tons of other guys suffer from, is they don't realize their energy levels work just like a bank account. We all wake up with a set amount, and every decision we make is a withdrawal. Even small things like deciding what clothes you're going to wear when you go to the gym, that's a withdrawal. Doom scrolling Instagram, that's a massive withdrawal. And watching another pointless drama video, that's another withdrawal. By the time you actually need your energy to get to the gym, you're broke. So the first habit is create before you consume. There's a reason the most successful people in the world do all of their work first thing in the morning. Build the habit of using that time wisely. Meal prep, go for a workout, anything that moves you forward. Then you can consume guilt-free because you've already won the day. Alright, here's habit number 2. Most guys don't make any progress with their fitness because they focus on the wrong things. Here's the thing with fitness. It's just about problem solving. You have an issue with your diet, you tweak it. Your workouts aren't working, you adjust them. Keep solving problems and you'll get to that 12% body fat. It's that simple. But here's where most guys screw up. They spend all of their day solving everyone else's problems before they can get to their own. A friend who's always dumping his drama on you, or a co-worker who's always asking you to cover for him. Every time you put yourself on the line to help someone else, you're moving them forward while draining your own energy. And here's the worst part, no one thanks you for it. You just end up tired, fatigued, and stuck in the same spot. So here's the habit. Audit your circle and ask yourself, who's actually worth sacrificing my goals for and who's just freeloading? If people drain you more than they push you forward, then you gotta let them go or at least limit your time with them. Stop being the guy who puts himself last. Alright, let's talk about habit number 3. How many restless nights have you spent lying awake while your brain bombards you with past memories of when you bombed in front of a crush or embarrassed yourself in front of a big crowd? There's a reason for this. It's called the negativity bias. Scientists found that our brains are naturally wired to focus on more negative things. Back in the caveman days, this was helpful for keeping us alive. If you didn't remember what berries nearly killed you last week, you wouldn't last very long. But in the modern world, this bias is a pain in the ass. It's the reason you vividly remember past fitness failures, but you discount or you quickly forget small wins. And it's why you pay more attention to your own physical flaws and compare yourself negatively with others. So to combat this, let's take a leaf out of David Goggins' book. Literally. In this book, he talks about the cookie jar method. Every time he found himself in a difficult situation, he'd reach into his mental cookie jar and pull out a past win. Moments in his life when he overcame something he once thought was impossible. Most guys let their brain erase their wins. Don't be like most guys. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, or you push through when it's hard, note it down. Because when you hit a wall, those wins are going to be the proof you need to keep going. So that's the habit. Build a list of wins, whether digital or on paper, so you can remind yourself the challenges you've survived. Alright, let's talk about habit number 4. Most guys think they lack motivation. They don't. They lack clarity. The biggest shift in my own fitness journey was when I found out why I was actually doing it. I lacked self-confidence and I lacked direction. And for me, fitness became a direction I knew that could help me solve some of my big problems. If you don't know exactly what you want out of fitness, your brain is always going to hesitate. If the human brain is uncertain, it defaults to inaction. Think about it. Have you ever stood in front of the fridge, hungry, but can't really find anything you want, so you close it and walk away? Or when you sit down to watch Netflix, but you don't really want to commit to anything, so you spend hours just scrolling the homepage? This is what happens when you're vague. You stay stuck. But when you get clear on your goal, the steps become obvious, the distractions get cut, and the actions become automatic. So here's the habit. Get painfully specific. Instead of I should work out more, it's I'm lifting at 7 AM Monday to Friday, non-negotiable. Instead of I should eat cleaner, it's I'm meal prepping on Sunday at 6 PM. If you don't make your plan clear, your excuses will just fill in the blanks. Alright, here's habit number 5. Back when I first started taking fitness seriously, I thought the answer to faster gains was more sets, more reps, and more time in the gym. In my head, more work equaled more gains. But instead of growing like I assumed I would be, my progress came to a grinding halt. My body felt wrecked, and I started to resent training because every workout was taking me an hour and a half, and I just didn't have that energy to feel pumped. At first, I thought I just needed to push harder, but when that didn't solve my problem, I had to finally acknowledge that maybe I was doing something wrong. I had to humble myself, sit down and do some proper research on recovery and training volume. And to my surprise, I wasn't under-recovering, I was overtraining. And this taught me a valuable habit. If something's wrong, audit it and figure out a new angle to fix it. If you skipped a couple workouts last week, ask why. Don't just try and willpower your way through it, because maybe it was a problem with your scheduling or your energy levels throughout the day. If your diet keeps falling apart, ask why. Maybe there's some junk food that was left in the house, or maybe it's just your meals are too bland. Every mistake has a lesson, but only if you take the time to look for it. Make it a habit to audit your mistakes or you'll just keep making them. Alright, here's habit number 6 for getting you to 12% body fat. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. If you're unsure what that is, it's an open world RPG. But I found myself as I go through the game going deep down rabbit holes and learning new things. If you've played any RPG before, you'll have experienced this. You find a new item and you look it up, and that leads you to a new area that you never knew, and then you figure out there's a side quest attached and it takes you on a whole different path and you're learning new things and it's exciting. There's an aspect of that in fitness. It's just not as instant. The problem is you might be looking at exercise as a sort of discipline, an action you take that you're either doing or you're not doing. But I think most guys would get a lot further and a lot quicker if they started looking at it like a game, something they're constantly learning and trying and adapting. Don't just grab a workout program off Google Images and assume that's going to get you into the end game. In an RPG, you wouldn't pick up the first weapon you find and decide you're going to use that for the rest of the game. You'd explore, look things up, try things out, play with different builds. You need to do that with fitness. If you see something that someone's doing that you don't know, then look it up. Ask them about it. Figure out. Watch some videos so you can try it in your next workout. That's the only way you can keep things exciting and keep yourself wanting to come back. So the habit is try learn something new about fitness every day. With so many different styles of exercising and diets to try, there's so many different things to learn. And on the topic of learning, down below you can find an entire month of free fitness advice that's similar to these but a little bit more practical, that's going to give you a perfect place to start and give you some stuff to try out. Alright, let's talk about habit number 7. Now, this is a bit of a continuation from what we were just talking about, but if you're going to be trying new things, then you're going to suck at it, and you're probably going to look a little bit funny doing it. To be fair, the gym is full of funny looking positions. Just look at this one. The key is to get to a point where you stop caring as quickly as possible. Now, it would be stupid of me to say, just stop caring, bro, because I know the brain's going to do what the brain's going to do. And to just stop caring is easier said than done. But what I will say is the more time you spend in the gym, the more comfortable you're going to get, and the quicker you're going to realize that people just don't care. So the habit is simple. If you're about to step into the gym and you're feeling nervous, just remind yourself, people don't care. And even if they did care, you don't care that they care because you can't read their thoughts, so you'll never know. Alright, let's look at habit number 8. Here's a question I asked myself a few years back that gave me tremendous results. What habits do the most successful people do, whether it's business, sports, or arts, that I could replicate? And one habit kept coming up time and again, and that was automate repetitive tasks. From people like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg, who wore the same style of clothes day in and day out, to Kobe Bryant, who had the same meticulous training routine, trained in the same clothes, and ate the same foods. They all follow the same pattern. Automating repetitive tasks. These guys weren't wasting energy on what to wear, what to eat, and when to train. They had a system in place that took care of all the boring, mundane tasks so they could focus solely on execution. And that's the key. The more decisions you make, the more friction is created. And the more friction there is, the harder it is to stay consistent. So if you want to get down to 12% body fat, you need to start automating the small stuff. Plan your workouts in advance. Organize a diet that you can follow for the next few weeks. Set up a morning routine. This will trim off any energy you're wasting, remove the guesswork, so all that's left for you to do is take action. Alright, let's look at our final habit. A few years back, I can't remember when exactly, there was this online trend of famous businessmen building million-dollar businesses in less than a year. The problem I had with that is they gave the viewer this false expectation that it was possible to build a million-dollar business in a year. But what they didn't point out was these businessmen had 20 to 30 years prior experience and could shortcut all of the mistakes that everyone else would make. They were hardly starting from zero. And it's the same with fitness. You'll hear promises of of fast results. And yeah, you can get fit faster, but there's just some lessons you can't skip. The mistakes, the adjustments, the trial and error. These things are just part of the game. The truth about getting to 12% body fat is it will take a decent amount of time. But if you focus on the things we've talked about today, the learning, the experimenting, the adjusting, then you'll start to learn to enjoy the process more than the outcome. And that's how you win at fitness. So the final habit is just focus on getting 1% better every day and be happy with that. James Smith has a quote, "All wins feel the same." Don't slog through exercise trying to get to that end goal where you can celebrate every extra push-up or every extra rep you achieve. Alright, but that's me. I'm going to mention that I do help guys one-on-one with an online personal training program. You can find that down below. Otherwise, if you're happy going alone in the journey, this video right here is going to give you a full guide on how to build the body from the ground up. It's a high-level overview. It's got some valuable information, so you might want to check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Cheers, gents.